In gaming and tech this week, we have Amazon and Netflix both succumbing just a little bit more to AI. We're going to talk about that. And then Max is going to be tying in major gaming franchise with one of their major streaming series franchise that it's a little convoluted. Let's do this. Welcome, nerds, to this week's edition of the Gaming and Tech News, generally speaking. Now, I'm no Linus or Spawnwave or Gamers Nexus or insert channel that is dedicated to the tech and gaming news here. That's not what you're getting here. This is just enough to keep you informed, generally speaking. We do this just about every week as part of a larger news show called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel. You can find that linked down in the description or at the end of this video. Now let's talk about some gaming and tech and maybe even some like photo, video kind of news as well. All right, so follow-up. We just got the one. We're just going to call the one a follow-up. We're going to call the other one a news piece, even though they're kind of similar in a way. So the follow-up one is Netflix. Netflix, if you remember last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the fact that Netflix had a gaming studio. They were going to do Netflix games, and it was a AAA gaming studio. And they had some alums from companies that gave us Halo, and I honestly am blanking on the rest, but like some really big, there were some Ubisoft folk that were hired on. There was really big name developer types that had worked for crazy large companies and very noteworthy IPs, you know, so they could make a big statement and stepping into the industry, into the space, right? And then they closed it, and so there's no longer going to be a AAA gaming studio from Netflix. But that's the piece we already talked about. The new piece is AI related, and it's going to be generative AI games. They're opening a new company, they're opening a new sub corporation, whatever, under the Netflix umbrella, after closing the AAA game studio and opening an AI game studio. Really, this is the direction that we're going in the industry. I don't see this panning out well, at least not in the immediate future, and hopefully not in the long-term future either, but who knows. Then let's kick over into regular ass news. We got a couple of pieces. We're going to start with, again, another AI piece. This time it's Amazon doing the AI thing. Amazon will now include AI-generated synopses and recaps and summaries for shows on the platform. They're going to start with Amazon MGM branded shows, but then they're going to go into basically all of the other shows on the platform. And they swear that there's not going to be spoilers in these recaps. So if you care about such things, then you should hopefully not be disappointed. But like, really, how are you going to get the AI to not hallucinate, A, and B, not accidentally give away something that people didn't want to find? Like, there's so much wrong with this that it's going to suck, and they're going to have to work out the bugs over the course of honestly, the rate AI is moving right now, probably it'll just be a few months, but like it's going to be a very long few months. That's what we got for Amazon. Let's move into, our biggest piece for this section has to do with Hogwarts Legacy. So this one's very, very interesting. Hogwarts Legacy, there's been two fairly big announcements in the franchise. First of all, there's going to be a sequel to Hogwarts Legacy. So it was the biggest thing that released last year. Like, of course we're going to see a sequel to this game. That was kind of a given, right? But there's a really big addition to the announcement of a sequel. We're also going to be getting tie-ins from the Hogwarts Legacy sequel game into the HBO Max, or Max, I guess, Harry Potter series that's going to be launching sometime next year, presumably. Actually, it'll probably be towards the end of next year, if it's next year at all, because they haven't begun production or anything on it just yet. So we know that that is coming, and now we know that it's going to tie in. But the interesting, the disconnect, I think, for me, for this is the Hogwarts Legacy game takes place like 100 years before the events of the books. So how are we going to tie that into the events of the books, because the retelling, the Max series, I keep wanting to call it HBO Max because that just sounds better. The Max series is going to be just another reinterpretation of the books. So if the game takes place 100 years or so before the events of the books, how do we tie that into the events of the books for the series on Max? Like, I don't know, it's gonna happen, but we don't know how. So that's what we got. We'll keep tabs on it. Let's move on. Our next one technically is Mass Effect, but is also Dragon Age Veilgard. Dragon Age Veilgard is not getting DLC because BioWare has given up on it. Honestly, no. The announcement is that BioWare is done with Dragon Age. There will be like balance patches or whatever, what have you, things to fix. And they're mostly turning their attention over to Mass Effect 5. So if you're not happy with Veilgard, you're going to continue to not be happy because they're not going to do anything to fix the gameplay, it would seem. Just kind of maybe fix bugs and then focus on Mass Effect, and hopefully they can do a little bit better on Mass Effect than they do with Dragon Age. But that's what we got for regular ass news in gaming and tech. All right, nerds, we have a channel partner. It is Dubby. This is just a quick partner spot. Dubby, I consider myself a bit of an energy drink connoisseur, and Dubby does the thing. It is fairly low when compared to other energy drinks as far as caffeine content. Also no maltodextrin, just good things for your brain and stuff that legitimately does what every other energy drink claims to do, but doesn't necessarily pull off very well. Dubby does. So go follow the link in the description. You will get 10% off of your entire purchase at dubby.gg. You can use the code generally nerdy at checkout. If you don't want to click the link for whatever reason, you can still just use generally nerdy at checkout and you'll get your 10% off. Gives me a little bit of a kickback and you get some fantastic energy drink supplement things. I am super grateful to Dubby. I'm super grateful to you. Now let's get back to the show. Suggestion this week, obviously I'm still playing Mortal Kombat. So once again, I'm going to turn it over to you. Is there something else that I should be playing right now? I know that there's a couple of fighting games I've been looking to get into, specifically Tekken 8, because oh my God, that looks like so much fun. I just haven't pulled the trigger and bought it yet. So I know that that's a thing. There were a couple, like Uni is one that keeps getting suggested to me. I'll have to check that out at some point. We might actually be doing a little bit more of this, diving into other games for the off season on the live shows, because we end every live show with a little bit of gaming action. So that's kind of where we're at. So suggestion is, if you're not playing Mortal Kombat 1, you probably should be, because it's an incredible amount of fun, and that's all I've been playing, so give me something else to play. Let's go. That brings us to the end of the video, nerds. Thank you very much for joining me for the news. Once again, there is a full and probably much more up-to-date and recent episode of the news, the full-length version, if you will, called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, linked down in the description, and probably link popping up somewhere around my face right about now. So click on that, go check that out as well, or if you prefer your news in more truncated pieces, then by all means just stick around here and go check out some of the other stuff we offer on this channel. Thank you very much for joining me. We will see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember, nerds, that if it is generally nerdy, it's probably here.